But if somebody asks a kasha like this, and this is a kasha that is asked, it's asked even by Talmidei Chacham. How could you say that the chaluzoin is the Murex trunculus? The Murex trunculus, as we know, is a snail, and a snail moves very slowly. The Gemara says that if somebody captures a snail on Shabbos, he's chayav, he's tzayde. There's a melucha on Shabbos capturing a balchai. There cannot be a melucha of tzayde on a snail which hardly moves. It's captured. If you can capture it b'shchi achas with one bend, you bend down and you pick it up. So it's captured before you even start. There cannot be an issa and a melucha of tzayde on a snail. So since it says that there is tzayde by the chaluzah, so the chaluzah is obviously not a snail. So that is a kasha that is not relevant, doesn't need to be addressed, even if I don't know the answer. I do know the answer. The kasha is not a kasha to begin with, as we'll get into it. But even if it is a kasha, I don't have to address that kasha, and I can continue with my knowledge that the Murex trunculus is a kosher source of tchayis. Why is that? Because he has not been able to challenge my proofs that the word chaluzin means a snail. The word chaluzin certainly means a snail. There's no doubt that the word chaluzin means a snail. So he's asking a kasha, since it means a snail, how is there tzayde? That's a very good question, maybe. It's not a good question, but if it's a good question. So I guess I have a question in Hilchis Tzayde. But the question is not a question which could possibly say that the word chaluzin doesn't mean a snail. It certainly means a snail, and we've proven that. Additionally, Rashi says that the word choymet means a snail. I brought the Rashi says clearly the word choymet means a limtze, means a snail. And choymet is one of the Shmoyne Shrutzim. It's one of the Shrutzim that are mentioned in Parashat Shmini, that it says in the Mishnah in Shabbos that if somebody captures it on Shabbos, he's chayav shem tzayde. So it says clearly that a snail is one of them. Chayav shem tzayde. So I don't know why. I mean, it happens that it doesn't say anywhere in Shulchan Aruch that if an organism goes slowly, there's no tzayde. It says that if something is captured, I guess it's talking about something that can free itself and it can escape, and you've captured it to the point that it's now easy to get to it. So now there won't be tzayde again because you've already done tzayde with it. But a type of an organism which to begin with is easy to get, it doesn't say anywhere that there's no tzayde on that. It also says that if you have an organism which is sick and therefore doesn't move, so there's no tzayde on that. It's the same thing. I guess it's sickness captured it, because by nature it's something that moves very quickly. But a type of a creature that doesn't move quickly, nowhere does it say that there's no tzayde on that. It happens to be that there is a Rishon who argues with Rashi, and he says, the Tosfos Rid, that the choymet cannot mean a snail. So he's going against many Rishonim who, do define the word choymet, as I brought earlier. I didn't bring all of the sources for choymet. I left some of them out, but there are lots of sources for choymet, that the word choymet clearly means a snail. But the Tosfos said it can't mean a snail because then there wouldn't be tzayde. He obviously holds of this svur, even though it's not brought in Shulchan Aruch. But it still would not be relevant to the chaluzah, because the Gemara says, it's a Gemara in Bayit, and the Masechtas Bayit, and the Gemara says that Zeh HaKlal, the Mishnah, Kol HaMechiset Tzayde, Usa, V'sha'ayim Mechiset Tzayde, to any organism which needs tzayde, which requires tzayde in order to get it. So it's usa to capture it. Such a creature that doesn't need tzayde, it's mitzvah. So the Gemara says, what does it mean? What's the case of something that needs tzayde? So Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda Mashmid, Kol sha'omer huvay mitzideh nitzidani. Any organism that one would say, let's bring some sort of equipment, some sort of a trap, so that we could trap it. That means that it's mechiset tzayde. And Rashi says, what does that mean? You need to find some sort of a tachbila, some sort of a method to catch it. Now the chaluzon is on the bottom of the sea. So either you need scuba diving equipment, which today I guess we have, they didn't have it in those days, but scuba diving equipment is certainly a tachbila. It's not something that one readily can grab. You can't just go to the sea and grab a tchailis, grab a chaluzon. And in fact, what they did was they used to capture them by lowering baskets into the sea, baited, and the chalzoinis over time would slowly go into that basket. They used the trap. It was huvay mitzid and nitzidani. So the kasha on many levels doesn't begin to be a kasha. And people ask this kasha. And they say, therefore, because they can't be tzayde on a chaluzon, therefore it's not the chaluzon, therefore it's puta. It's amazing. It's actually astonishing that they don't bother to scrutinize this kasha to see that it's not a kasha. They just, it's like just on the surface, they think it's a kasha, and on the base of that, to be Mavatla Mitzvah says, it's as I said in the beginning of the discussion. There is a bias, there is a need to conclude. Many people just need to conclude, they must conclude, that it's not the chaluz, not chayils, because if it is, then they have to wear it. And obviously, that's something that they would have a hard time with. So the easiest way out is to just kind of find some sort of proof. But these proofs are not proofs. That's one kasha.